The continuing success of their local rivals Farnborough was now really starting to destroy Aldershot's challenge, as their supporters had become extremely envious of Farnborough's position in the table and were putting too much pressure on their own players to succeed, thereby destroying their confidence in the process. However, there was no such pressure like that at Farnborough, maybe because the expectations hadn't been quite so high in the first place, and that was resulting in a really happy atmosphere both on and off the pitch, especially when they stretched their lead at the top to 13 points after two more comfortable victories at home to Harrow Borough and away to Dulwich Hamlet, before they took on second from bottom Croydon on the 3rd of March, hoping to make it 10 league wins in a row. The key to it all, though, was quite likely the fact that Farnborough had no real problems with injuries or suspensions, and that allowed Graham Wesley to field an unchanged starting lineup for the 4th match running, whereas other sides at the top were chopping and changing their lineups every week for one reason or another, and that was causing a lot of inconsistency. Croydon's problems so far this season, though, have been caused by manager Ken Jarvie's decision to rely mainly on the players that got them promoted to the Premier Division for the first time in their history at the end of the previous season, and their inexperience was now starting to tell, having failed to win in their previous 6 matches. However, it was the blustery gale-force wind that seemed to be the main cause of Farnborough getting in a shot on target after only 2 minutes, as Croydon keeper James Wastell sliced a clearance which blew backwards into Gary Crawshaw's path, but Wastell was alert enough to tip away Steve Darlington's resulting shot from Crawshaw's low cross. Despite that chance though, Farnborough generally had trouble getting their passing going early on as they tried to come to terms with the strong wind, but as their defence had only conceded 3 goals in their last 9 matches, they were confident of keeping a clean sheet at the back and then scoring at least 1 goal at some stage of the match. However, it was Croydon who actually took the lead after 22 minutes, when their 19-year-old former Farnborough youth team striker Nick McDonnell controlled Chris Dixon's cross and in one movement hooked the ball in past an unsighted Stuart Mackenzie. Although it was quite impressive, only about 20 people cheered that goal, which was Croydon's players, their coaching staff and 1 or 2 directors in the main stand, and it was their lack of support which was always going to give them a problem in this division, as it meant they didn't have the money to buy players of the calibre of Gary Crawshaw, Steve Darlington or Lenny Piper, who all combined well for Farnborough with some neat passing in the 25th minute, but Piper had just strayed offside according to the linesman and the goal was ruled out. By now though, Farnborough had got used to the strength of the wind at their backs, and Jimmy Dack really took advantage of that in the 30th minute when his free kick was flighted just right to deceive keeper Wastell, although he still should have got something on it to stop Barry Laker equalising with a free header into an empty net. With Croydon playing almost a 4-5-1 formation though, Farnborough couldn't find another goal before half-time, and there was always a chance that they might also struggle against the wind in the second half. However, the wind did them a favour in the 58th minute when it held up Jimmy Dack's long ball perfectly for Gary Crawshaw to run onto, but after he was foiled by an excellent challenge from Croydon's Ben Judge, Scott Corbett kept his head really well to set up Steve Darlington for a good finish to put Farnborough 2-1 up, and after that there was only going to be one winner, and that was the home side. Indeed, Gary Crawshaw then added a 3rd goal 11 minutes later, with the ball actually deflecting in off the heel of Croydon defender Mark Dickinson after a seemingly unintentional headed flick on from Lenny Piper had set up the chance. That killed the game off really, and after that it was just a case of giving a number of substitutes a run out at various stages in the last 20 minutes, with the only decent chance created by either side coming in the 76th minute, when Mickey Warner, who'd now been pushed up into midfield, hit a cross shot narrowly wide of the far post. That would have made Farnborough's win even more emphatic, which was what manager Graham Wesley had actually been calling for before the game, as he'd been getting concerned that his side were getting too complacent in front of goal and should be beating these teams in the lower half of the table by much bigger margins.